like you're in a racing car seat.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Wheel It Up, where three black women talk all things Formula One. My name is Shanice, I'm one of your hosts.
Hi, and I'm Simone. A very sick Simone today, but here nevertheless.
Yep, and this week, as you'll either see or hear, we are back on Zoom. I've stopped eating oxtail, but I am traveling for work, so I'm in a hotel room. Simone, where are you at?
I'm at home trying to recover from food poisoning, and what seems to be like a cold, which has sort of developed. So I'm stuffy, I'm a little tired, and a bit achy.
But you know what? You're here. Whereas actually, Anita, I almost forgot. Anita is an emergency. What was it? It wasn't an engagement meeting, an emergency bridal meeting.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an emergency bridal meeting. So just picture like the film Bridesmaids, but they're having an emergency meeting
Yeah.
about what's about to go down.
Yeah, well, exactly that. It sounds like something's going to go down. And I kind of want to hear it. I wish she was here. In
Wow.
the middle of the meeting, guys.
Like, go, what happened?
Exactly, guys, you won't believe what's going on here. There'll be more drama than the race this weekend, which I don't know if we can actually I don't know if there was more drama than the race this weekend. I don't know if they can possibly be. Yeah, so obviously this week we had the Austrian Grand Prix. It was a fully action-packed weekend. We had qualifying, a sprint race, a 71 lap Sunday race, and post-race penalty drama. Yeah, but before we get into like the full Sunday race, let's talk a little bit about the sprint. Simone, can you give me one word to describe this sprint for you?
Wet.
Wet.
Yes, wet. Because there was a lot of spraying. It did rain. There was some spraying going on from the tires. Another word. I know you said one word. I'm trying to think of another word apart from wet, because that was just a weather word.
True, but I was actually thinking that was a great way to describe it, because it wasn't just about the weather, but actually the race itself was like, it was okay, but it was kind of wet. Do you know what I mean? I think this one kind of made me feel like I get it, but I also don't get it. So
Oh my God, that's exactly what I thought about an hour ago. I was like, I asked myself the question, how do I feel about sprint races? Do I like them or not? And I'm kind of 50-50. On some races, I'm like, oh yeah, let's get into it. And on other races, I'm like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I need it. It's a lot of racing. It throws my sort of race weekend out of sync, because then the qualifying happens on Saturday and the Friday, and then the sprint happens on the Saturday. It's just a lot. Like, I don't know if I need it.
yeah, exactly. So just to remind some people who might not know a lot about the sprint, it's basically a sprint race is a 24 lap race where 8 points are up for grabs. So 8 points for P1 all the way down to 1 point for P8. This is the second one of the season so far, and I feel like Austria's sprint gave us some, changing weather conditions from wet to a bit drier. But obviously, that didn't stop Max from bringing it home. Our top three in that race was Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz. And from memory, they all stayed on intermediate tyres for the whole race. I think a few of the other drivers did too. Now, what I like about the sprint race is that everyone seems to have a bit of a chance. Like some of the underdogs tend to perform a little bit kind of well. I don't know, but I can't work out like why or what it is. Like it's not really that much different to any other race. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just shorter, and it's kind of like not a free for all, but it's kind of like a go for all. Like you've got 24 laps, see what you can do, energy. But I feel like that's what I want for a Sunday race anyway. So Simone, what did you think of the sprint, and do you think it was better than the last one, or do you think we need them? I know you've already mentioned this, but
it does feel like, oh, everyone kind of has a chance here. Everyone's sort of going for it. I think because it's quite quick and you've only got 24 laps to sort of get in, get out, prove yourself, try and get points, try and move up the grid. That's going to be your starting position, whatever position you finish in. So you don't have a lot of time, and it's like every man for themselves.
So the last time we spoke about the sprint race on the podcast was, and I did triple check this actually just now, it was Azerbaijan, which is what I thought it was, but I don't know, I feel like these races come so quick, I forget everything that's happened in the last one. The last time we spoke about the sprint race, I remember comparing it to like the 100 in cricket, right? So it's trying to be a bit quicker, it's trying to be a bit fresher and something new, but I think the reason why it doesn't quite work like that for me is because the difference with like the 100 in the cricket is it's a totally different game, it's a totally different match. It's not the Ashes, it's not the T20, it's something, it's all on its own, whereas the sprint is trying to fit in with like a normal race weekend and trying to and I feel like that's not what's going to grab people's attention. No one's going to like tune in for the sprint and only the sprint and then miss the actual race, because the sprint results are always totally different. Well, not totally different, but they're often different to the race results. It's not like you're watching a shorter version of the race. Do you know what I mean? Even though
Yeah, but I think it's another way for them to attract fans, different kind of fans that want to be into it. It just makes that race weekend a bit more packed. So you've got something on the Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. So that's another drawing point for Formula One to be like, yeah, let's get some more fans in. Let's bring something a little bit different.
So after the sprint, oh man, I wish Anita was here. I wish we knew what her opinion was of the sprint.
I know, because I haven't spoken to her actually about it. I've only had one comment from her.
Yeah. Oh, what about the sprint?
No, in the group chat that was on Sunday race about your friend.
Oh my god, yeah. In fact, I wait till we get to that bit, everyone who's tuning in. Right, yeah. So let's talk about the actual race. It's time to take a lap, which is the section of the podcast where we basically talk about the race, our general views and what we think. Aside from the sprint this weekend, we also had qualifying, and that gave us a starting grid on Sunday of Max in P1, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc in P2, yeah, Carlos Sainz in P3, whoop whoop, Lando Norris P4A, and even better, Lewis Hamilton P5. So there are top 5 in terms of the bottom 5. So 20, can we take a guess, anyone? Okay, so 20 was Nick de Vries. 19, can we take a guess who started it? Kevin Magnussen. 18, Logan Sargent. 17, Zhu Jianyu. 16, Yuki Tsunoda. And 15, Sergio Perez. Another person we need to talk about this podcast, actually. So that's our top 5, bottom 5. And yeah, I feel like we have a lot to talk about, actually. I thought it was going to be like we're not going to have anything to say, but actually we do have loads. Simone, what were your thoughts overall in general? Obviously, I'm always cussing out those bottom 3 I just named. Those are the 3 names I've been cussing out the last 4 weeks on this podcast, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Simone, thoughts?
Oh, where shall I start? So Nick de Vries, I think he has to prove himself. And I think the word around this race weekend and the paddock was that you don't have many races left to sort of prove yourself and sort of earn your seat. Like you're going to have to show us what you've got, basically. Like you're going to have to show us that it's worth us investing in you and it's worth you being in Formula One and worth you having this seat. Kevin, oh my God, I don't know what's happening over our house. I don't know what's happening. Oh my gosh, when I was watching this race and every race week, Kevin or Nico spins off. There's always something happening between one of these drivers. And I'm just like, what is going on? So if you're just listening, Shanice's face right now is just like, what?
What is going on? This is what I've been saying for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, what is going on? Obviously, Max is always going to be in a league of his own. It's his home race, so we expect him to do well, and he always delivered. I mean, he won here last year, so I'm not expecting anything different other than that. So yeah, I mean, it didn't really give me any surprises this race. I'll be supposed to be honest. Like I thought the race was quite boring. The only thing from me that I wrote down, well, that I can remember, which everyone's going to remember, is the FIA were dishing out penalties in this race, left, right, and centre. It was just like, you get a penalty, you get a penalty, you get a penalty, you get a penalty. It was a lot to keep up with. It was just like, at one point, I stopped even taking notes.
Spots everywhere.
I was like, what? The amount of drivers that were exceeding track limits. The only two drivers that didn't get a notification for exceeding track limits was George Russell and Zoe Grenu. That was it. That was it. The only two drivers.
My G George, hey, yeah.
Pretty much the whole of the grid got something, and it was
Esteban Ocon got 4 total of 30 seconds.
I know.
Interestingly, though, that didn't affect his position too much. He only dropped 2 places. And I did think that was really interesting because I thought, wow, that means there was quite a gap then between like him and let's say like the places, give or take 2. Does that make sense? Because he didn't actually, if he's only going to drop 2 places and he was 30 seconds extra of penalties, whereas Charles Leclerc lost by like 0.048 of a second. Do you know what I mean? Like that was the difference between like him and Max. We're 10 races into the season already. How exciting is that?
It doesn't feel like 10 races in.
It doesn't feel like 10 races in. And I was having a look today and I did the maths on my calculator. So Max Verstappen is 81 points ahead of Perez.
Jesus, just give me
81 points. And we're 10 races in. Although Perez did have a good race. And for me, I also felt like Carlos Sainz was bringing that energy from the sprint race. So I feel like he had a taste of the points in the sprint race and he was carrying on that energy into the Grand Prix in this race. So that was really nice to see.
I can't see this driver lineup for next season. It's definitely going to change. That's
It can't be. It can't be.
Yeah, I know. I know Gunter is over there and he's effing and blinding. Like, what the beep are you mother is doing?
Yeah, he is. But also, he brought Kevin Magnussen back. Like, I do have to keep pointing this out. I remember watching that episode in Drive to Survive and I was just like, is this guy for real? Even I would make a better team principal call than that. I don't care if you need to give a rookie a chance at development. Surely that is a better move than bringing back somebody who is equally still scoring no points. Like a rookie would maybe not score any points, but this is a guy who's got major experience and isn't scoring any points. However, I guess it might be that because if you have a rookie who's crashing all the time, that will then cost you a fortune, and Haas ain't got no bag. So they can't actually afford to give a rookie a development opportunity. Maybe that is it. But interestingly, like Nico Hulkenberg, often has done, kind of well in Austria, and scored points in the sprint. But Sunday didn't even finish the race. Was it his fault though, Simone? I don't know if it was. The car kind of broke.
Listen, guys, just get in line to get your J Hus tickets, okay? Get on that priority list to get your J Hus tickets. That's all I'm saying.
J Hus? What the hell are you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking about? He's on tour.
I thought you were talking the podcast.
This is just a public service announcement, okay? That's all.
Right, okay. So, and interestingly for Haas, which I know you've already spoken about, Simone, Nico Hulkenberg actually normally does okay in Austria, scored points in the sprint as well. But Sunday, he didn't actually finish the race. But I was kind of thinking, was it his fault? I mean, the car did break, so
I mean, I don't know whose fault it was, but I just know that they're not having a very good time up there. It's not looking good for them. Like, yeah, he had a DNF, so he didn't finish the race. I think he exited maybe lap 12, I think it was, if I'm correct.
God,
Actually,
it felt like it was like lap one, but then I realized it's because it what that's because I'm getting AlphaTauri mixed up with Haas, because in lap one, when we had like AlphaTauri swerving all over the place, who was that? I think it was Yuki Tsunoda veering off. And then I had to do a double take. I was like, is that Haas again doing something stupid? And I realized, oh no, it's not. It's AlphaTauri. Yeah. So. Which
yeah,
sounds about right also.
I have nothing to say on them.
Yeah, no words. No words. We should not record this podcast so late at night. We
Oh
have
God.
what?
I said, yeah, like, oh my God, yes, for sure. We shouldn't. We shouldn't.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've lost my mind.
I can't breathe.
Now, one thing I want to say, um, let's talk about Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Ferrari. It was
Shouldn't have stayed at home.
well. No. Sorry. I was just gonna. Did you want me to do? Should have said him. I was just gonna go into like a bit more race detail.
Oh, if you want to, carry on.
I was gonna say. So yeah, Charles Leclerc. It was his fourth podium at the Red Bull Ring, and it was also Ferrari's 800th in Formula One. And I think that is a massive achievement, because it was only the other day on the podcast we were talking about Max Verstappen getting Red Bull's 100th.
Yeah.
100th win or 100th podium? 100th win, maybe?
Yeah, it was 100th win. 100 wins.
100th win.
100 wins for them. Bear in
So,
mind, Hamilton has 103 by himself. But anyhow.
yes, but we also mentioned that the way Max Verstappen is going, he's definitely going to catch up to that, as long as Red Bull stay off on that. So yeah, I think Ferrari in general did quite well this weekend. And normally, obviously, we're always cussing them out recently, even though they're my team, they're my boys. But our cussing, is deserved sometimes. But this week I just wanted to give him a little shout out and be like, well done.
I saw some good defending and some good driving from both drivers. I think it was Carlos and
Oh my God, yes. Were you wait? Were you gonna say, hang on, because I cut you off. Sorry, Simone. You go. I was gonna say,
go on.
was it that moment between I think it was Perez and Carlos Sainz, and it took Perez like 3 times to overtake Carlos Sainz. Oh wow.
So was it Max? Okay, I think it was Paris. Yeah, so that I loved. I love a little bit of wheel-to-wheel action, trying to overtake, and Carlos Sainz using the DRS to get ahead. And I was like, yes, boy, look at you, big dog, look at you.
Yes.
I love it. Tactically, I love that, because that's exactly what Max had done on a couple laps before with Charles Leclerc, and I was like, yeah,
exactly. And the most frustrating thing, actually, and I imagine this for Red Bull too, the most frustrating thing was it took Perez 3 attempts at trying to overtake him. On the third time lucky, right? He managed to. And I just remember thinking, you see Max now, he knew. He did that the first time. There's no third time lucky with Max. He knows. And I felt like
DRS in and overtook.
For sure. And I'm thinking, God, I could just imagine like Christian Horner or like even Perez's like team being like, no, you need to like get tactical in the mindset. It's in the mindset, right? When I saw Max just like break a bit earlier, he came round, swoon. Oh wow. Wow. I just thought just a brilliant piece of driving. both from both drivers, like Carlos Sainz there and Max. And yeah, it was so brilliant to watch. I was literally on the edge of my seat, like, come on, Carlos. And then when it happened for the third time, I was like, I can't, like, I'm losing my voice. Come on, like, I just knew, like, third time, like, he wasn't going to get it, and it wasn't really even his fault. I think in the end, Sergio Perez did eventually, like, work it out. Oh, like, do you know what I mean? I'm gonna get DRS now, so here we go. But it was just such a brilliant bit of action on the track.
That was the most exciting part of the race for me. Apart from that, it was a bit like, it's a bit dull. All I'm hearing is penalty, exceeding track tickets, track limits, black and white flag. I was like, oh my God, can we stop?
Actually, another thing that just gave me bare jokes in this race was, do you remember where, like, loads of people were getting, like, penalties, and then someone came on the mic to Lando saying, look, Lando, just, take your time, don't do anything too crazy, because it's all going a bit wild out there. Basically, everyone's going to get penalties. If you play your cards right, you're going to be totally fine, and just, like, you're going to be fine. So just stay within the lines. And what did Lando do? Swerve out the line. And I was like, no, oh God, he just asked one thing of you, Lando, please.
Just drive on the track. Just stay on the track. Don't exceed track limits, and you'll be okay. And damn it, every driver exceeded track limits, and a lot of drivers got penalties, and it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, this race, Lewis, I've never heard Lewis on the radio so much.
He was chatting bear smack. I
was like, Lewis, are you okay? Do you need a hug? Oh my God. Lewis is like, hey, listen, this driver in front, Max, I can see. Look, hey, listen, I can see them off the track. I can see they're exceeding limits. I can see. He was not happy with that 5-second penalty that he had to take. He was like, no, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with it.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Bernie Collins. I think Bernie came onto the radio being like, oh, well, you can hear Lewis at the moment, like, really, I can't remember how she worded it, but basically saying, he just didn't stop complaining on the mic. Can somebody take the mic off Lewis, please? He's like that, like, dad or uncle at a wedding who just won't stop talking. It's like, come on, man, we need to get on with the important things. Do you know what I mean? Just take
He was like, if you're going to give me a 5-second penalty, you're going to give all of these man a 5-second penalty. Okay? It's not just me, it's them.
And to be fair to him, he obviously was right. Like, he is right. But it was just funny. Like, everyone just knew, oh, here comes Lewis again, crying on the mic. But he was right to do so, because then look what happened after the race, right? Everyone was getting dished out penalties here, there, and everywhere. Fired, shots, penalties everywhere. Another thing, Simone, that I wanted to remind you of in the race, I'm sure you already remember, but it was very early on. De Vries swerving the way Magnussen worded it anyway was basically he was pushing him off the track. Do you remember this bit?
Yes, briefly I do remember. And they were like, oh, whose fault is that? And then Nick got a penalty for that as well.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, you're right. And for me, obviously we're constantly, I don't know whether to say this or not, but, like, I'm getting bored of talking about these guys on the podcast every week in a negative way. And I'm always trying to find something. I am genuinely trying to find something positive, but sometimes they just don't, I don't give them a break, and they're not giving me a break. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to be like, you know what, Nick bloody he might have been P17, but he really bought it this race. Do you know what I mean? Or, I want to be able to say, oh, Magnussen, do you know what? He had a bit of bad luck, but he was on fire, or he was really pushing, he was really trying. But I just feel like sometimes, I don't know what it is with these two, but I feel like they're getting that kind of, like, driver, not hate, but that driver, what's it called? Yeah, rivalry. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Yeah, that driver rivalry between each other, but for really bad things. It's not like, obviously Lewis and Max have a bit of rivalry, but they are both like really, okay, fine, you know what I mean? They're both, top drivers. I just find De Vries and Magnussen, it's kind of just like, this is coming out of, oh, he's pushed me off. Oh no, he's pushed me off. Oh no, he's doing this. Oh no, do you know what I mean? It's a bit childish. I feel like, I don't know, but these two need to sort out their shit, both of them.
Exactly. Who is your should have stayed at home?
I should have stayed at home. Oh God, my should have stayed at home is so hard this week. It's so bloody hard this week.
Why, Shanice? Why?
Because I just feel like I don't want to choose Hulkenberg because I don't think it was his fault. I don't want to choose De Vries and Magnussen because I feel like I'm always choosing them recently. And then it got me looking at everybody else. And I was kind of like, well, what the hell has everybody else done? Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even remember seeing Gasly on the track.
He was
no, he was in attendance.
he came to class, but didn't see his work.
Exactly that. I should have stayed at home. I feel like this week, if I'm picking a should have stayed at home, it's not for the right reasons. It's because I didn't hear from somebody, or okay. Do you know what? I really didn't want to do this.
Go on.
I really did not want to do this, but I'm gonna do it. I still don't even. I think I'm being unfair, but
oh my God, be unfair. Be unfair. Be a bitch. Tell us who it is.
Can't do it, but okay.
You can do it.
I'm gonna go with Esteban Ocon.
How is that unfair?
But I know he had so many penalties that it was like an extra 30 seconds added onto his time. However, other than veering off the track,
I don't think he had a bad race though.
I don't think he had a bad race.
My should have stayed home really is going to go to Nick De Vries, actually, as well for his incident with Kevin Magnussen. And also, I just don't think he's performing very well. I'm just like, you need to really bring it at this level now. Yeah, you're going to lose your seat if you don't buckle up and show us what I want, basically.
Yeah, and I feel really God, I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it, but I feel really sorry for him because I feel like he is probably thinking the same thing. He's probably thinking about losing his seat and getting a bit stressed out about it and trying to perform. And I think, it's a really hard thing being a Formula One driver. We've spoken about this so many times on the pod, not just physically, but mentally. And I feel like, I'm really, really excited to watch next season of Drive to Survive because I can't wait to see what he is like personally. Do you know what I mean? I think it will give a lot of context to the things that we're talking about on the pod, and like with a lot of the other drivers, we've seen them on so many seasons now of Drive to Survive. We kind of know them, we get them, we see their personalities, we feel that. But with Nick De Vries at the moment, I can't feel sorry for him. I can't have that level of sympathy because I feel like I don't know him as a driver. I know that he has potential, but I can't see the potential. I can't see what he's like personally, which is why I'm always happy to cuss him out. But next season, maybe it'll be different.
He was your star boy.
My star boy. Okay, yeah. So star boy is the section of the pod that obviously I always love. It brings positivity. And people we like to give praise to. You remember last episode where I felt like I had so many should have stayed at homes.
The whole grid at this point. I can't stand him for that.
In fairness, I didn't realise that Sergio Perez had the fastest lap until then. I didn't realise that he did.
I'm pretty sure.
I didn't realise it was Sergio Perez. Because I'm always like, oh, you can't take those opportunities from your teammate. However, having said that, whether it was or wasn't, I genuinely deep down I knew he would do it, but I didn't want to believe it. It was petty, but I do think, as we've said, every point counts. To be a Formula One driver, you need to be selfish. You've got to think of yourself, blah blah blah. And I feel like this is just Max in a nutshell. And I kind of just thought, yeah, we know you now. Do you know? And we've always known
Max for a while.
yeah. But this really was the cherry on top, the icing on the cake for me. And I just thought, I'm never going to put anything past you. Never again. Because this was the one final, for the very last lap on the race. It wasn't like there was 10 or even 5. It was the very last lap on the race. So, yeah, for that's why Max can't have my star boy, because it was a bit too petty and that's not very positive. So I think my star boy is going to go to... I wanted to choose Carlos Sainz, but then he got put back 2 places, I think, because of these penalties. Charles Leclerc, he did well, but I still don't like
he's big one.
It's so hard, man. Perez moved up as well, like 12 places, you know, or how many places, 13 places, something like that. 14 maybe, I can't remember. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna go with... I'm good, even though he had a penalty, I'm going to go Carlos Sainz.
Thank you.
I think that action on the track for me with Perez was just executed perfectly.
I'm going to change my star boy from my original choice, and I am going to
Can you tell us who the original choice was though first, just so we can hear?
Charles Leclerc. So I'm going to change it from Charles Leclerc to Lando Norris.
Oh, damn, I forgot about Lando. Yes. Okay, I'm all for it. Go.
So I'm picking Lando for star boy because I think Lando had a decent race. Despite everything that happened and penalties and whatnot, he had a good race, and the improvements that have been made to that McLaren car you're seeing, I think we'll get to see even more when they get to Silverstone. I was happy for him in a sense. Like he had a decent race. He even got driver of the day, and he was so chuffed about that. And he was so happy. So yeah, I think he had a decent race, to be fair. So I'm going to give it to Lando. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, agreed. Actually, he was one of the people I forgot to list on my list of could have beens. So yeah, you're right. I think Lando Norris was brilliant. And yeah, speaking of next race and home races and Lando Norris, here we go, baby. Okay, Silverstone next week. Exciting times. I'm hoping it's going to be star-studded. I'm hoping Lewis, Lando, George, am I forgetting anybody else, is going to bring it? Those 3 next week, I need to see something from you. And I've got this thing that I'm praying that Lando is going to be somebody we're talking about next week. I really hope.
Okay.
Oh no, don't fall that face. Oh, I really hope.
I hope it's a good one. I hope it is as exciting as last year's Silverstone race was, minus the Zoe crash, because that was very terrifying for him and very terrifying to see. But obviously, thankfully, he was okay. I'm hoping that Silverstone's going to bring some. You know
what I want it to bring? I want it to bring, as Anita calls it, that big dog energy that Carlos Sainz had this week. Woof, woof. That's what I want, that big dog energy, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm on that page as well. I'm excited for Silverstone. If anyone wants to give us tickets, that'd be nice. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
Also, can I manifest this on the podcast? We're going to be at Silverstone next year. I don't care if I'm volunteering as a steward. I don't care if I'm flipping somebody's burgers. I'm going to be at Silverstone next year, okay? Okay? Because this year I'm end up going to a rave. So next year I'm going to Silverstone.
Yeah, I'm manifesting that as well. And I'm not on the volunteering or flipping burgers vibe. I'm on the paddock tickets. I'm in the Mercedes garage kind of vibe. That's where I want to be next year, okay? Like, I need to be someone's like corporate guest, okay?
Yeah, well, corporate guest would be nice. Hopefully someone's listening to the podcast.
Thank you and good night.